Sometimes the world looks like you ain't ever seen it before. Stuck behind never-ending windows, all you need is a door. Searching for something to put a smile back on your face. Just remember, in unusual times, it can come from an unusual place. You need a partner for the ride, 'cause everybody needs a Clyde. So set your worries to the side. Just ask, say the word and I'll be there. Just ask, you know the greatest things in life all come in a pair. They say hindsight's 20/20, but that ain't far enough behind me. So if you want the sweetest honey, I think hindsight's 1990. There's no need to pretend I got a hand I can lend, 'cause when you really need a friend, just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Are you ready to slay another day? So are we. Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling, here with my co-host, Sara Fergenson. Sarah, how are you?
Jessica, it's a brand new day. Goodbye. I am putting away my master cap, my Daddy Vance cap. I'm putting away my Angel t-shirt. Fuck them all. I am going straight Team Spike, Team Drusilla. I don't care. Kill Buffy, kill whomever, whatever. We are doing rock and roll, baby. It's time. Let's go.
We have a new villain. Very apparent from like minute one that this guy shows up, that it's like,
You say villain,
okay.
I say
hero.
Yeah.
New crush, yes, yeah. It's the bleach blonde hair that does it for you, Sarah. Is that what it is?
The accent. And it's the fact that he will light your motorcycle on fire if he had the opportunity to.
Yeah, no hesitation. We're going to talk about Buffy Season 2, Episode 3, School Hard. And of course, we are not alone. We are joined by a very special guest. This is his first time on Shit 90 Shows Taught Me, which is, I feel like, a rarity these days. So that's really exciting. Someone who loves Buffy, has seen every episode multiple times. I'm pretty sure is in a rewatch currently. David, how are you? Welcome to the podcast.
I am fantastic, and it really made my heart sing to hear Sarah say that, because the first thing I wanted to ask y'all when I got on here was if he was the new Daddy Vamps, and I guess I got my answer already. So
I feel like he already has more personality than Daddy Vamps did. And like, listen, no shade to Daddy Vamps. We loved him. But I feel like, Sarah, this is a villain. Spike is a villain that you're like, you love to hate him. Or in your case, you just love to love him.
Yeah. Well, I'm ready to go over to the dark side, and I've been like really hoping that someone would fully tempt me, because I'm very malleable. I don't know if you know this, but like I will go wherever the wind will blow me, and I would blow with Spike.
That's the way you want to word that? Okay, great.
Oh yeah.
So David, give us a little bit of your history with Buffy. We know you're big Buffy fans, but for the podcast listeners, give us a little bit of your history with the show.
Okay, so I'm a big vampire fan, first of all. I've been obsessed with vampires since I was a little kid. Dracula, just any kind of myth, really. And when I was in high school, I saw the movie when it was in theaters. And the thing about that is I remember reading actually an interview with the writer, because I'm the kind of person who reads interviews with screenwriters. And he was mad because he realized during the interview that he had ripped off Pretty in Pink in the movie.
That's really
funny. There's the scene in Pretty in Pink where she's at the dance by herself and the guy taps her on the shoulder and she looks the wrong way. And he does the exact same thing in the movie with Buffy and her friend with benefits, Pike, who is played by Luke Perry at the height of his power. Which was the other reason I saw the movie, is because I'm from the 90210 generation. And Luke Perry is one of the people who taught me what cool was after I outgrew Han Solo, who is the original person that taught me what cool is. So I watched the movie, and then like I got busy graduating from high school and didn't watch the show when it started. And then when I was a freshman in college, the second semester, I caught an episode. It'll come up in a couple weeks called Halloween, and that hooked me.
Yeah, I feel like a vampire show must do a Halloween-based episode, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
imagine it's gonna be
Well,
it's gonna be a good
if
one.
yeah, it's Halloween is really really good. If I hadn't really wanted to do school hard, I probably would have asked y'all for Halloween because that, like I said, it was my first episode, and then I was hooked after that. The next week, I saw my first live episode, which was in the second half of season 2, so we can't talk about that at all.
Mhm.
And then I just caught up with all of them, and by the time season 3 started, I was fully caught up. I'd seen
Ooh,
everything.
nice.
And then when they started coming out on DVD, got the DVDs, and yeah, I have seen the entire series all the way through, probably 3 times. And then I'm in the midst of my kids wanted to finally watch it. My son actually came to me and said, "I want to experience Spike," and that's how we ended up watching it.
Oh,
Oh, that
Um,
how fun is that? Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
because
so
they
what
had
do the
resisted.
kids think? Do the kids like it?
They love it.
Yeah.
They love it, and I think it's
Yeah.
probably good that I waited until they were this old to really watch it
Yeah.
with them. But yeah, they really love it. My kids are 16 and 15, and both of
So
them love it.
who do they enjoy watching? I guess your son is also has the Spike T-shirt that we got
Yeah,
from Etsy. It came in. But what about your daughter?
yeah. My son refers to Spike as his goat, so
The
that should tell
greatest
you.
of
So
all
Mhm.
time.
incredible.
Yeah. My daughter loves Buffy.
Hmm.
Good. She's
Um,
good taste.
yeah. And she likes Angel. Fine, you know.
Mhm.
Willow's okay. I mean, it's tricky because we are on season 6 now.
Oh
Hmm.
wow, so you're zooming through.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably love characters we haven't even met yet or something.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
won't. Yeah.
I have
Um,
a question. Like, is this one of the first shows that you watched with your children? Because when I was a kid, like some of my best memories were watching TV with my dad, and my mom, and we watched like I'm thinking of things like obviously Survivor. That was a family show.
yeah, we did
We
that.
watched Deep Space Nine, and I was like watching Star Trek with my family. And like one other thing, like we would watch like I don't know, like Ally McBeal or like Friends or whatever. And I'm just curious, like what do you watch with your kids besides Buffy?
When they were really little, they didn't really understand it or pay attention, but we watched How I Met Your Mother when it was on,
Mm,
Mhm.
and they referred to those characters as the people.
the people.
Yeah,
The
this is like when they were really
people.
little. Because we watched it. That was really popular with me and my particular friend group at that time, when the kids were little. And then during the pandemic, we binged Person of Interest together,
Oh, yeah.
um, which they loved. We've
Adam
watched.
just started rewatching that.
It's. I like to refer to that show as like a stealth program in that it
Mm.
appears to be a common CBS procedural, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
actually a very, very good show about artificial
Mhm.
intelligence, that everybody should at least give a chance to. Um, the kids and I have watched Parks and Rec more than once. That's their favorite
Yeah.
sitcom. Um, Ron
That's a
Swanson would
good
be
one.
another person my son refers to as a goat.
Mhm.
Um, stuff like that. Besides Buffy, right now we're watching Angel. I won't
Mhm.
say where we are in watching Angel because I don't want to give away when the
Yeah.
spinoff happens, but we're watching that. And sometimes they like Angel more than Buffy, and sometimes they don't. And then I've been circling around watching Veronica Mars with them. Uh, I want my daughter to watch Veronica Mars because, like, I love Veronica.
Yeah.
There's the alternate universe where they switch places and SNG plays Veronica and
Oh,
Kristen
yeah,
Bell plays
Mhm.
I
Buffy,
can
and
see
and
Yeah.
that. That'd be
that would be
fun.
just as cool, you know.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
finished watching Veronica Mars for the first time with Adam. That's one of the shows we were watching together. And I think that she's such an interesting character, Veronica, because like I like her a lot, but she's so flawed. And there's
Hmm.
just times where I'm just like, oh, Veronica's getting into her normal shit again. Like she's screwing herself over like normal, or like she's in her like she's stubborn. She thinks that she's right all the time, and sometimes she is, and
Yeah.
sometimes she's not. And but she really, really thinks that she's like just right
Always right now.
1000% of the time. And you can't. And ultimately, I'm like, by the end of it, because like Adam freaking hates Logan, and I was just like, Adam, like she deserves him. Like she's the problem here. Like she's the problem. But that's Veronica Mars. That's not this show.
Yeah, and then not to go off on another tangent, but the whole family, including my wife, we all watched Doctor Who.
Oh, nice.
And I've kind of told this story before in our circles, but I'll say it on a podcast. The whole reason we watch Doctor Who is because of Kevin. His character in our D&D campaign is based on the 11th Doctor, and I had resisted Doctor Who for a long time because I was like, I already have enough nerd stuff in my brain. I don't need to
Yeah.
add that whole.
It's a lot. It's a lot of backlog to
And
watch. Yeah.
and then I changed my mind, and now I love it. But we've watched a lot of that, and
Nice.
that's one that's really good with the whole family.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Inside the TARDIS on Whirlwind Podcasts. Go check out that podcast. It's really fantastic. Let's talk Buffy. We're
Oh,
gonna talk
absolutely.
Buffy today. Season 2, episode 3, School Hard. I feel like, okay, so the reason I ended up watching this episode twice is obviously Spike. I recognized the name Spike being like, I remember hype about a character named
From
Spike. So I was
who?
like, okay. I don't know, listeners. I feel like someone had mentioned the name Spike to me at some point in
Maybe
my
it was
life.
the time when I did the preview podcast and I told you that there was a character named Spike, and you asked
There you
me if it was
go.
a dog.
There you go. See? And I didn't know if Spike was man, woman, what? I don't know. I didn't know. Hero, villain, who knows? So I knew, okay, Spike was going to be important. And on top of that, there's also this reveal that we'll talk about towards the end of the episode with Principal Snyder.
Mhm.
So that felt like really, a big freaking deal for Buffy. We're in episode 3, so we're kind of setting up a season-long arc in this episode. So we start off with Buffy and Sheila in the principal's office. And at first, Sarah, I was like, oh, is Sheila going to be like a new character that we're, talking about every single week? She's kind of like a rebel without a cause. She is Buffy if Buffy didn't give a single shit about school. And so they're in trouble. And they're basically told there's going to be like a parent teacher conference night sort of thing. And this is insane to me, Sarah, that the principal is like, hey, 2 children who are irresponsible and I can't trust anything, you're now responsible for the entire parent teacher night, refreshments, banners, everything. And if you don't do a good job, you're expelled.
I mean, this principal really sucks. I cannot wait until this principal gets his brain sucked out, because he is the absolute worst. And
he's the fun police. Like, he literally is the fun police.
Yeah, no, he's pretty awful. And I also do, like, call this extra credit, right? Like, hi, you 2 are troublemakers. I'm going to give you extra credit. Why? So it's like one or both of them are getting expelled. There's no option of none of them going to get
That's
expelled.
the problem is, David, this is essentially a group project, and it's unfair because Buffy, just by this one conversation that the principal's having with them, it's very clear that Buffy is going to actually work hard at this, and Sheila is like, I don't give a single fuck what's going on in here.
Yeah, that's pretty apparent. And I love it when Buffy comes out and she's talking to her friends, and she says, "That's what my mother sees when she looks at me, is a Sheila," and
Yeah.
that is definitely kind of what they're setting up in the episode, as far as having Buffy's double life come into contrast, and her struggle to maintain being the Slayer and being a student. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we get a lot of Buffy and her mom this episode, like a lot on their relationship with Sarah. I know we talked a lot in season 1 about like, we need to hear a little bit more about Joyce. Like, we feel like she's kind of invisible on the show. And I thought this episode did a pretty decent job at like, okay, her mom is at least semi-aware that Buffy is involved in something at this point now, which is refreshing, I think.
Yeah, I really think that this episode brought me around for Joyce as well. And I think that a big part of that is having her in on the action and actually being present while Buffy's doing all this stuff. Like, it's kind of funny to think that she has been so oblivious where like Buffy's running all over town in cemeteries with like little pointy sticks, and her mother has no idea. But it was nice seeing Joyce like part of it, and of course she has her way with an axe, which is very impressive.
Yeah.
So let me ask y'all something, since neither of you know what's going to happen. Based on what you see in this episode, do you think that Joyce is going to find out soon, like the full, secret?
I think she has to, because honestly, like something has to give. I felt in this episode, and it's like I think that this was a really good example of like you can't have it all. Like you can't do it all. Like she said later, Buffy says like, it's really hard for me to like go to the Bronze and study for school and slay and organize this parent teacher conference. Like they're really something just like, and like she has to juggle her mom, and it's like something's got to give. Like it's impossible for it. It's going to compound on itself. And like I also think also a couple of thoughts. I have so many thoughts running through my brain, but one of which is like, when students have like, I'm thinking in New York City, when the kids are like on Broadway, they get excused from school because they have important shit to do. Or if they're like master ice skaters, like they get excused. Like something's got to give here, because like it's a lot of unjustness. And then furthermore, my last point, and then I'll pass it to Jess, I kind of think her mom knows a little bit more than we think. I also kind of think that like Joyce knew how to use that axe. Like I feel as though like maybe Joyce has like some sort of past. Like I just don't feel, how like the Watchers are like nepo babies? Like, is there a possibility that Joyce is a something? I don't know what she is, but like, does she have a Slayer past? Maybe she like went to auditions and she didn't get the acceptance letter. But like, is there something somewhere? Something. And also, one more thing, sorry. Like, like when Harry Potter like is becoming a wizard, they get the letter and it's like, you're a wizard. Like, what, like, don't the parents like have to be like in on this shit so they can go and buy their wizard gold and like whatever? Like, and maybe this is because we didn't watch the movie. Like, I have no idea how Buffy became the Slayer, but I have a lot of questions. You probably can't answer any of this, but I have so many questions.
Yeah, I think like the thing with Joyce is I feel like they gave us, this is an appetizer of like her finding out, right? Is she is present when Buffy has to do slaying things. Not really like, she's on the periphery. She's seen a little bit without seeing all of it, right? So I think eventually Joyce has to find out, but I think this is enough to like quench our thirst for now, in the show's opinion.
Even Aunt May finds out that Spider-Man is Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
eventually.
like you have to, because they can't keep it a secret forever. But I think I don't think she'll find out. If she's gonna find out this season, it's not gonna be until the very end of the season. But I don't disagree with you, Sarah, in terms of like I don't necessarily think like she's a former Slayer or anything like that. But you're telling me that there's a vampire attack on a school and your daughter is like very confidently giving you instructions on what to do, and you're not like, like, why is she so good at this? Like, I don't know if Joyce just isn't curious enough or what, but it felt like she was a little bit too cool about the entire situation to not have something else kind of underneath all of that. But yeah, it's a little a little suspect, but
There's
I don't
something there.
there's
I don't know
something
what,
there.
but there's
And it could
something
be like
there.
we've said, Sarah, where like in these types of shows, eventually everyone gets powers. Like Willow becomes a witch eventually. You know what I mean? Like, does Joyce get something? Probably not, but it's, I think like we already had one big reveal this episode of like the principal seemingly knowing a little bit more than he's letting on. So I don't know that we're going to get like another reveal like that with Joyce, but I do think it is interesting that they chose this moment to include her with her being a little bit more, not really seeing everything that Buffy's up to, but seeing enough to know that she's up to something. And David, the fact that she ends the episode with being like, it's almost like she now has a reason she understands her daughter now. Like she understands that like, oh, this is why you're so trash at school. Like this is why you've got all these issues, like at least there's
Yeah.
a reason for it. And so she's a
Yeah.
little relieved by that.
And I think it's kind of one of the things to take away from this episode is the fact that Buffy has too much going on and something's got to give. But what solves the problem for her is when she just embraces being the Slayer, and when she does the thing that she's made to do, which is save people and take charge of the situation, because that's what demonstrates to her mom that she doesn't need to worry about her, and that all of the things that Snyder is saying about her is bullshit. That it's just a little man with a power complex who has isolated her daughter because he feels threatened by her and by the fact that she sees through him and doesn't really care what he thinks.
Yeah, at least Buffy's not aimless in the way that like her mom probably thinks she is.
Yeah.
She cares and she's strong and she's confident. And those are things that will get her far in the world, regardless of grades and, all of that stuff.
I mean, she definitely doesn't look at her and see a Sheila anymore by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So speaking of the Scoobies follow Sheila outside and they're kind of talking about like what, Sheila's kind of dangerous and she's always kind of been that way. And Xander makes a massive faux pas and he says, listen, as long as nothing really bad happens between now and the parent-teacher conference, you'll be fine. And Buffy and Willow freak out for obvious reasons because you just jinxed them, Xander. Like, Sarah, this is a huge faux pas.
Yeah. It's just like in horror movies where you're like, oh, like, let's separate. Like, you like blah, blah, blah. It's just like a guarantee that some shit's going to go down, but also it's Hellmouth, and if it's a Thursday, then shit's gonna go down. Like it is what it is.
Also, I'm just curious because y'all make observations about the fashion. Can you please give me an opinion on Xander's shirt in that scene?
It's
very writer strong, like Sean
Hunter
it's
like a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah,
Hawaiian shirt, bowling shirt crossover event almost.
Pasty upside. It's a little unfortunate, but it's definitely of the times.
Yeah,
Pasty
I mean,
upside. Oh, that was
I was a little bit more distracted by the fact that they're continually dressing Willow like she's 12, wearing more overalls. This time she has braids and Buffy's hair. I'm sorry. Who approved this? Who was like, hey, let's take her cute, short new summer haircut and put it in 2 low ponytails in the back? What are we doing?
Kind of cute.
I hated it. I was not here for this at all.
I thought it was kind of cute.
But speaking of fashion, quite an entrance is made by the big bad, I presume, the big bad of the season, Spike. We get like the welcome to Sunnydale sign, and he just crashes his car straight through it, doesn't give a single fuck. This is like the epitome of the guy who walks away from the explosion, doesn't even bother turning around, sort of thing. Gets out of the car.
He flicks his cigarette and then it goes bigger.
Exactly.
So cool.
And he's smoking his cigarette. He gets out of the car. He has vampire face immediately, bleach blonde hair, and he says, "Home sweet home." So
yeah.
We know that he's been here before, and obviously we'll get into it later, but we know he has a history with Angel. Gosh, I didn't know this was Spike, obviously, when I first watched it, because he didn't say his name yet. But immediately I was like, I knew the bleach blonde hair was something, David. Like, again, Sarah and I are very lucky in that we are unspoiled on the show. However, seeing this man and his bleach blonde hair, I was like, this is unlocking something in my memory of like I've seen him on a poster or something. So I knew he was going to be important the
Oh
minute
yeah,
he's introduced.
yeah. The image later of him and Drew when he says, "Me and Drew are moving in," at the end of the scene with the vampires,
Mhm.
that was used for advertisement for the show, and that was like so
Okay.
that's an image that's
Ooh.
been floating around. Um, a thing that I want to point out for y'all, he shows up in Vanface, right? And
Mhm.
he's
Yeah.
in Vanface all through that scene, and there's a lot to like pick apart and dissect in his interaction with the vampires. But the thing I want to point out first is when does he go human?
Oh, it's not until he's in with the vampires that he
It's
does
when
it.
Drusilla comes in.
Yeah.
And so that's the first
Hmm.
time you see Spike's human face is when Drusilla comes in. And I just want y'all to think about that and then think about that in comparison to Angel, because the first time we see Angel's vampire face is when he's kissing Buffy.
Hmm.
And
Which we
there's
thought was kind of like
a
a
parallel there.
yeah, because of like the lust and the hunger,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of like,
Yeah.
it's very interesting, Sarah, to me that it feels like Spike and Angel are going to be like two sides of the same coin. Like they have a similar bad boy past, and then one was like, I now have a soul and
Mhm.
humanity, and the other one was like, fuck all that noise. I'm gonna fuck shit up.
I'm kind of feeling like this is going to be fuck. What are those characters called from ACOTAR? Tamlin and
Oh, Reese, Resand,
Re-
Resand.
Res- Reese.
Mm.
Oh, it's
I
definitely love
feel
triangle vibes.
like,
Like
well, there's
Buffy's gonna
that.
Buffy's gonna kiss Spike at some point. It's gonna happen.
Yes. But like I kind of feel like Angel is like a Tamlin and Reese is or Spike is like a Reese.
I
Like
could see this.
Angel's going to like but he's like the good guy, like he's the good one. But like also like I can kind of see him being like very controlling like Tamlin. And like I feel like we're made to believe like in ACOTAR that like Reese is or Spike. I need to why am I calling him Reese? I need to let that like that he's the bad boy, he's like the big bad, whatever. But like, do
Yeah.
we really know everything
I
about
well,
him? I
here's the
don't know.
thing. I'm gonna
I don't
draw
know.
another comparison. This
Mm-hmm.
time to another vampire series, obviously that came out after Buffy, but the show True Blood, where I think Angel is like your Bill Compton, where he's like, I have a soul, I have a heart, I
Mm.
love Suki. And then Spike is the one played Eric
Eric Northman,
Northman. Yes, Alexander
Viking vampire.
Skarsgård. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's him, where at first you meet him and you're like, this guy's a fucking asshole. I
Yeah.
hate him. But then you get to know
Mm-hmm.
him more and you're like, okay, but he's kind of dreamy. Okay, but he's kind of so bad it's good. Okay, I kind of love to hate him. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
no, I actually just love him.
Yeah. I've never seen True Blood, but like I'm going down the story and the path that you're laying out for me, and I'm eating up all the crumbs. Like I
I
get
think,
it.
and this is why I think people love season 2. And David, I'm so sorry. We're saying all this stuff, and like David probably can't say hardly anything. But do you have any thoughts on our thoughts in terms of like, I don't
Fellas
know?
Well,
for geniuses and very pretty.
you are in fact geniuses and very pretty. That is
Oh,
true.
yeah.
I
Nailed
I,
it.
I completely agree with that statement. I will say this. Obviously, I love Spike. That's part of why I'm here. Um, I watched True Blood until it stopped being good.
Oh, when the
Um,
fairies happened, because that's when I stopped watching.
about then, yeah.
Oh,
And
freaking Tilly erasure over here. What
and
bullshit.
no, those Tilly was much better than those fairies. Tilly was much better. Um, Eric Northman is my second favorite blonde vampire.
Oh.
Okay, see, I knew there was something there, and obviously, like a Skarsgård is just charming in general, but like
Yeah,
the
he
way
is.
he played that character is anyway.
Also, he's
So
really good as Tarzan. If you ever watched that movie where he plays Tarzan,
No.
he was in a
Skarsgård.
Tarzan movie. I did
Oh
not know
yeah,
that. I'm
oh
gonna have
yeah,
to watch that. I
yeah. I
love
want to
Alexander
say,
Skarsgård.
what's her name? Harley Quinn, the girl who plays Harley Quinn, Barbie.
Margot
Oh,
Robbie.
Thank you.
oh, she's Jane.
You can tell who I am because I went with Harley Quinn first before Barbie.
Yeah,
But yes,
before Barbie. Yeah.
yes, she is. Yeah, she's Jane.
Interesting.
And then yeah, it's real good. But anyway, that's near there. Spike, yes.
Yeah,
Spike
let's
is
get back
awesome.
to the scene where
And Yeah, and he
Go ahead.
swaggers in and he's like, you know what works really well for Slayers is killing them. And, you know, I've done it twice. I don't like to brag. Just kidding. I love to brag.
Leo energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that what
he
that
comes
is?
in and he's talking to like the anointed one, you know, who's back this season.
The
And they're
annoying one.
talking.
He's the annoying one.
Yes, love
Yes.
this nickname.
He
Incredible. I
is
think
the
someone
annoying.
signed an email with that, and I thought it was so clever. And then I'm like, oh, they got it. Was it you? Was it you, David? I was
I
like, it's
call
from
him
the
the annoying
show.
one in my emails. I don't know.
That's what it was then. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in comes Spike, and he has swagger, you know, and it's obvious that like I feel like Spike is a character who just smells that there is an absence of power somewhere, and he's
Mhm.
like, I shall step in and claim this place as my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, with his
Yeah.
little British accent and swagger.
Oh, that was the
So
biggest surprise for me that he had an accent.
Oh, same.
so
Yeah.
let me ask you this real quick. Do you guys know if the accent is real or not?
No, I have no
I'm gonna
clue.
guess it's not real, but I don't know if it is or not.
It is not.
Oh.
He is American.
Who is
See,
this
I hang around
dude?
enough British people to know
His
what a real
name-
British accent.
His name is the actor's name is James Marsters.
What else
After
was he in? Do you know?
he did a lot of genre TV after this. I mean, you know, he did well, I can't really get into that part, but he did a bunch of stuff after this. He was on Smallville. If you watch Smallville, he played Brainiac in season 4.
Oh, fun.
With his
Okay.
normal hair color because his hair is actually brown.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was pretty sure this wasn't his.
And then
his
he's
natural
bounced
hair.
through different, you know, genre TV shows. But he plays Spike. And he played Spike. We always like to say in fandom, he played Spike like he had a mortgage he needed to pay and he wanted to keep his job.
Yeah.
And-
this tracks. He
and-
is all in immediately.
Yeah, and Anthony Stewart Head, the guy that plays Giles, would help him with his accent and make sure that it sounded good. That's
Aw.
part of why he's able to do it. But like in the original
Cute.
audition, they had him play Spike as Southern,
Oh.
and I just have to say,
True Blood vibes.
I just have to say that for a lot of reasons, I'm very happy they went away from that. Because like I personally, being from, you know, technically the South, Texas is the South. I'm kind of tired of Southern Confederate vampires. Yeah, I just want the Confederacy to die, and we can all just
Yeah.
do that together.
He is like giving like Billy Idol.
Yes,
Right?
that is.
Yes.
And well,
major Billy
and
Idol
Sid
vibes.
Vicious. Y'all know Sid Vicious?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the plan. They were
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then
he comes in with this like big energy, and we immediately find out he's killed Slayers, which is like, not great. And then
Yeah.
to your point, David, like in comes Drusilla, and he switches to like, you know, do
Mhm.
his little disguise so he looks human.
yeah,
And we find out that he says, oh, you're weak. And it's very obvious, you know, like it's like I'm trying to think of a good comparison, Sarah, where it's like destined to be together, like so in love with each other, but like in a very toxic, scary way. And she says she's a princess, so we don't really know. Like, we know they came from Prague, and she says she misses Prague, and that something about the proximity to the Hellmouth is going to like help her gain her strength back. She's also a vampire. Sarah, do you have any guesses or, you know, predictions on like why Drusilla is so weak at this moment?
Why she's so weak? I mean, I don't know. I'm just looking at Prague, and I wanted to know how. Looking at Prague, I wanted to know how close the Czech Republic was from Romania. Just out of curiosity, there's a whole Budapest in the middle, so not right next to each other. But I'm just like trying to figure out like how is she a princess? Because I mean, I forget if the Czech Republic had royalty.
Can I make a
But-
prediction on Drusilla? I think
What's that?
Drusilla and Angel have a past. I think there's some. I think that
Yeah, but like
at one
everybody
point-
does.
no, but
There's
I
been
I
200
no
years,
a
plenty of
romantic
time.
past.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
yeah,
It's been
but
200 years.
it seems
I
like
would
she is some
assume.
sort of vampire royalty, and like
Mhm.
I don't know. It's interesting to me that like the majority of the time we're seeing her is she's not in vampire form. She's in human. She looks human, you know?
I mean, it is very interesting. Like, she's a very interesting character. Number one,
She's
looks
so creepy.
She's creepy as fuck. She collects dolls that are all blind. No, they're all gagged, which is fascinating.
She whisper talks.
Yes.
She does whisper talk.
She's a princess.
I'm
A princess of what?
Darkness.
And why is she?
She's the princess of Spike's heart.
Oh, okay.
She's a princess
Yeah.
because Spike treats her like one.
And they give me big vibes of like, you remember how when we covered the Angel episode and we talked about how his past and like we thought him and Darla were like fucking on top of corpses they had just like eaten.
Yeah.
That's what the vibes they give me. Drusilla and Spike have definitely had like blood orgies. There's just no way they haven't. That blood jacuzzi,
would they not?
they have 10 blood jacuzzis.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm not quite sure about, like, I don't know if like Drusilla is like long for this world. Like, I don't really
Really?
I mean, like, I don't really know what her deal is. Like, I think that she's probably even more like, I don't know, she's so unhinged, and I
Yeah.
just am so, I don't know what's gonna like come of it, but also is she like the boss?
Well, it
of
seems like it because
Spike?
so at one point they're talking about the Slayer and Spike says, me and Drew, we're staying here. Keep your flunkies like from going behind my back and we'll take care of the Slayer for you. No problem. And David, this is when Drusilla kind of grabs her temples and she says, I can't see her. I can't see the Slayer. And so I'm interpreting this as possibly like she's a princess because she has some sort of powers in terms of like maybe locating the Slayer or like she just has elevated powers that vampires maybe don't have.
Normal vampires. Average vampires.
Yeah, she's an extra vampire.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. At the end, closer to the end of the episode, when Spike and Angel have their confrontation, Spike refers to Angel as his sire. Right, and we'll talk more about that later maybe, but if you're speculating that Drusilla and Angel have a past, how do you think that plays into Angel and Spike's obvious relationship?
So I took it, okay, so like maybe I like misinterpreted the word, but like I was kind of under the belief that Angel made Spike into a vampire.
That's what I think a sire is. Yeah,
right, because like
it's like a maker, a sire.
A sire.
Yeah,
dog
that's definitely
breeding.
the implication.
Yeah, boy dogs and dog breeding are sires. So he's the daddy. He made
Daddy Angel.
Yeah, he made Spike. That Spike is a product of Angel, and then we all know that Angel was like the baddest vampire in all the land. And I guess like Spike was like an underling of his at one point, and like what is the connection between the three of them? Like maybe they were in the same clan and then Angel like went off and did his own thing with what's her name?
Darla. I think they were a throuple at some point.
They're not a throuple, Jessica.
You don't know that.
Jessica, we're not getting into throuple territory.
Vampires, I feel like, are very sexually fluid, especially because you're telling me you're around for like 600 years or more, and you're not at least considering the idea of a throuple at some point in those 600 years.
I think it makes sense, but also I think this show is the 90s. I don't think that was on the freaking CW or whatever.
She just cut his face open and licked it.
She did cut his face open and lick it. I would just put forward, Darla is older than all of them. She would have been there first, so
Darla made Angel. Oh my god, we're getting
more likely that there's a square going on. You know?
Yeah, no, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's more of a love square.
Yeah.
So
possibly.
Darla made Angel. Angel made Spike, and we don't know about Drusilla. But in my opinion, Drusilla is probably like not a part of that family tree. Like she was made by someone else. That's what I think.
God, I love family trees. That is one of my, I don't get excited about anything really, but I do get excited about family trees.
Well, this isn't so much a spoiler as just kind of a reminder, but if you're thinking about the vampire family tree, don't forget that you have Daddy Vamps at the top because he's the one that
He
made
made
Darla.
Darla. Yeah.
He made Darla. Oh my god.
We love a daddy. Yeah.
Oh my, this is it's
Yeah.
just like a sorority family.
See, this
And-
is how we get Sarah in on the lore. Is
Yeah.
she's looking for a pen right now? I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, And then kind of before we move on from the scene with Spike and the vampires, one other thing I want to say about it. It's a very meta-textual scene in the sense that you have this guy talking about how somebody is going to take the master's place, and he's speaking very ornately, and he's talking about Saint Vigius and all this stuff with the Order of Aurelius and all this lore stuff that, you know, they throw around all season 1 with the vampires that Daddy Vamp was always just yelling about. And then Spike rolls up and he's like, "You're an idiot. You're claiming you're at the crucifixion. If you were actually there, there would have been a million vampires there. It would have been like Woodstock." And Spike is instantly like not that kind of vampire. He's not this traditional, you know, all this bullshit guy. He's
a rebel vampire.
Yeah,
He's a
I was
cool
Woodstock.
vampire.
I've got my leather jacket.
Rock and
you
roll
know,
vampire.
I'm the one that taught Sid Vicious how to be awesome. Billy Idol copied me.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Okay, hold on. I made some art.
Look
Wow.
at your
That is
family tree.
fantastic.
Daddy Vamps to
Wow.
Darla to Angel to Spike, and then a line connecting Drew and Spike with a heart.
With a little heart.
Great.
That
Yeah.
is a perfect art.
Yeah, so we'll be back with the vampires soon. We have to take a quick pit stop with Buffy and Joyce, where they're talking about the parent-teacher conference thing because her mom got something in the mail about it. And they have this little heart-to-heart where her mom says, listen, like, I know, like, it's hard, but we just moved. Like, I you can't be getting into trouble. And Buffy is, like, really struggling because her mom doesn't know how much is on her shoulders. You know, she says, like, oh, I just feel so much pressure. And her mom says, wait till you get a job. And Buffy says, I have a job. Like,
Yeah.
I
just-
love how dramatic she said this, David. It was too much.
Yeah.
I have a job. I have a job. So yeah, so her
Unpaid,
mom,
by the way.
you what?
Wait, hold on. This is an unpaid job. David, does she get a stipend for this at all?
Do you want me to answer that question?
Did she? Kinda, but
I don't think
does
she does. I think
does
it's
she
just
get
like a
lunches?
legacy
She-
thing.
She does not, to the best
Yeah.
of my knowledge. But you know who does
Why?
get paid? Giles gets paid.
no.
The
Oh,
Watchers
the
Council pays Giles. Why don't they pay Buffy?
No.
Nonsense.
You have hit one of my sensitive spots about the show and the lore. I'm very irate about this.
This is
Um,
actually pretty ridiculous, and it
yeah.
says a lot about paying men and women equally.
Mhm.
Yeah. Usually
Yeah.
it's just 70%, not nothing.
Yeah. And who's the one who actually goes out there and gets killed? The Slayer.
The Slayer.
Yeah.
Giles
Um,
just gets to hang out in his fucking library.
And talk to Ginny Calendar.
Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of, they come in the next scene. Buffy, Willow, and Xander are working on the banner. Sheila's nowhere to be found. And Buffy's like, listen, I think I can handle this as long as I don't have to slay. And in comes Giles. And like they're having a little bit of an argument about like Giles only reads old things. And obviously, as a techno pagan, Jenny is very much up to date on everything. And so so they're talking about Saturday is the night of Saint Vigius. And it's like, oh, he led a crusade of vampires. And so that's not great. It's not looking great. And Buffy's like, actually, I'm pretty fucking busy right now. Like, I'm on the verge of getting kicked out of school. And so I think I need to focus on this. And Giles, I don't like the thing is Giles is trying to like reprimand her, David, but like this poor girl, she has a lot going on in her life, and it's not like there's a whole team of slayers in this town at the moment. She's on her own, and so she's having trouble balancing everything.
Yeah, and Giles even says, you know, you're the one who goes out and fights. Like the others are not going to do that. And they're all like, well, we'll help, and we'll like make weapons and stuff and be in the background. And you know, but yeah, the Slayer stands alone, and that's like the philosophy everybody always has. And you know, one of the things you have seen, and you will see going forward, is that that's what sets Buffy apart from other Slayers. Is that she does have, as Spike says at the end of this episode, her friends and her family backing her up, and that's like her real superpower is that she brings out of them the capability to be,
support.
you know, yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a flawed system, and I don't know what council is in charge of this, but the whole thing is very flawed because wouldn't they want all the Slayers to have a layer of support and financially backed and probably have a wardrobe?
And be out of high school, probably. I mean, I don't think they're leading with logic here, you know?
Well, I think that you have to get a youngster because it's kind of like when they send off those teenagers in the Olympics
hmm
to do their somersaults, because like you need to get them in their prime. So like we need to have a teenager because they are very flippy and like young and fresh. So we need a teenager. I get that. But then we need this, I guess. I mean, like, to be honest with you, I think they don't invest in them because they figure that they're disposable and they're going to die anyway. So
Well, we know Spike has killed 2 of them.
It
at least,
it does
so-
seem that way.
yeah.
They think of them as disposable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So also Willow is wearing another Scooby-Doo shirt.
Yeah, is this where the
Another
name
one.
Scoobies came from? Like, I
It
don't
has to
understand this. It
be.
has
It
to be.
has
She
to
keeps wearing
be.
Scooby-Doo shirts.
Yeah, she loves Scooby-Doo. And who doesn't?
I don't really remember when that started.
Yeah.
Like, I think
Do
they
you-
were always the Scoobies.
David, do you know if your kids know what Scooby-Doo is?
Yes, they do. Yeah. So one of the shows that we watched was Supernatural, and that was because my niece, who is like 20 or whatever now, was obsessed with Supernatural when she was younger, and so my kids saw the Scooby-Doo Supernatural episode at a fairly young age because there's a crossover where Supernatural crosses over with Scooby-Doo, which is insane,
Oh my god.
but
that's
also
interesting.
hilarious. Yeah.
Do you think that there's any male characters that are relatable in Scooby-Doo? Because I feel like girls have it easy. Like Jessica's a Velma. And I'm obviously a Daphne. But like, who can you relate to, David?
Oh my gosh. So it depends on, there's different iterations of Scooby-Doo, honestly. There's one version that's called Mystery Incorporated,
Yeah.
which is technically speaking a prequel to the original 1960s cartoon.
hmm
And they characterize Fred as not being as much of an idiot, just kind of oblivious to the fact that he's not really the leader, but like a brilliant strategist when it comes to building traps. And so that version of Fred
Oh.
I kind of like.
Yeah.
When I was a kid and I didn't know any better, I thought Fred was cool because I was like, oh, he must be dating Daphne, so he's obviously awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, he
Um,
secretly sucks though. Most
yeah.
of the time.
No, I figured that out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Well, the
Anyway,
principal comes over.
yeah, enough about Scooby-Doo 45 minutes into the podcast. We're 13 minutes into this
This is
episode
a
right
big
now.
episode, Jessica.
And so why are we talking about Scooby-Doo?
It happens,
Yeah.
So in comes the principal. Sheila's not there. He realizes it. Everybody's about to be in trouble. In walks Sheila. She looks definitely hungover or something. And she is very impressed that Buffy burnt down the school. And Buffy is very kind and covers for Sheila. I don't know that I would have been as kind. If you're gonna almost get me expelled, I don't know that I'm gonna be so kind to you.
Jessica, for the billionth time, snitches get stitches.
Well, maybe she should have been there on fucking time, you know?
She had places to go. She had to
Also-
go. She was at a club.
It's really fucking irritating that the principal is like, Willow and Xander aren't allowed to help. Fuck off, bro. Like, don't you want all the help you can get? They're making banners and everything. She needs help.
Well, it's like Sheila says, Snyder is a rodent.
Mm-hmm.
He's the
He
worst.
is.
Yes.
He is. And yeah. Incidentally, the whole thing with burning down the school, that happened in the movie. That's the big
Yeah, that we
climax.
knew. That we
She
That
sets
know
the
about.
she
we
sets the
know.
dance on fire.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we know. But
Yeah.
I mean, it was caused by mice who smoked, so it's all very reasonable.
Exactly.
We are at the Bronze, and Willow is helping Buffy study French.
And the reason they're there is because Buffy had said to Angel that like she might make an appearance at the Bronze. So instead of being at home and studying, she decides to study in a very loud teenage club, while Xander dances in a way that can only be described as white guy dancing behind them. It is
He's
like
having fun.
he's such a bad dancer, and he's like so into it that I did chuckle at him, but when am I not really?
I'm just glad that he's having fun. Now, in the background, we have Spike being a creeper. He is creeping. And my only point to talk about this is that remember in the pilot where Giles was like, Buffy, use your senses, like know who's around. It's a vampire. And she was able
Yeah.
to pick out a vampire in 1 second flat. Like, where are those skills? Because we get the most vampire-iest vampire creeping in the darkness in the background, and those spidey senses are not going off.
He's literally wearing red and black. Like David, he's in a long leather trench coat,
That's
bleached
true.
blonde hair, pale as fuck, and she's not immediately like, "Hey, you're a vampire."
I think it's supposed to be demonstrative of the fact that Spike is very good at what he does, which is stalking
Oh.
slayers and killing them.
Oh, okay.
This is true, and
This
he
is
has
not
like
on Buffy. It's just a point
It's-
towards the
yeah.
best person that's
a
ever
Spike
lived.
has like hundreds
She
of
was-
years of more experience than
Yeah,
she does.
she was distracted by his cheekbones. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You're very high.
But he does
Uh,
such a this is brilliant, right? Where he tells his little, colleague to be like, go feed, go get some food in the alleyway. And then he lets it drop right next to Buffy, like, someone call the police. There's some guy biting some girl outside. And of course,
Yeah.
Buffy's like, Slayer to the rescue time. So she runs outside, and this is like a perfect way to get a gauge on Buffy's abilities without
Mhm.
even having to get involved. Like, Spike needs to be on Survivor because he feels like a mastermind strategist, to be honest. Like, I think
Oh, absolutely.
he knows what's up, And
Absolutely.
of course, Buffy is like kicking ass, as one does. And she sends Xander in to go get a steak for her. Buffy completes the job and then is, surprised to hear applause from Spike. This moment was so great, David.
Yeah, and the chemistry between Buffy and Spike instantly, between James Marsters and SMG, is just off the charts from the beginning. And like, yeah, it's like these are your ultimate antagonists, like enemies. Like they're gonna be, and they're the enemies who, I don't know, might have energy between them.
Oh,
mhm.
there's so much heat, Sarah. There's so much heat between them. Like, we've talked about this zillions of times. We cover a lot of teen dramas. The opposite of love is not hate, it is apathy. And the opposite, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there is heat.
When there's like hate, then I mean, like, you're feeling emotion. There's a charge. So
Exactly. Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah, like I felt it as well, and it's exciting to see. It's exciting to see new blood on my television screen.
Yeah, Buffy has
Very-
options.
Buffy has all the options.
Yeah. But yeah,
Um,
he says like, she asks who he is, and he says, you'll find out on Saturday. She asks, what's gonna happen on Saturday? And he says, I kill you. And he just leaves.
And he
And
just
I'm
walks away.
This is everything I want in a villain. Give me the drama. He knows how to put on a performance. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's just like, mic drop. I'm not even gonna tell you my name. See you later.
he's just cool.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he's very cool. And then I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Sheila's still alive by the end of the episode, right?
No,
Did we
no.
see her die?
No,
No, okay. Yeah, no, she. Go ahead, sir.
No, she gets kidnapped by Spike and Drusilla, and then she's forced to watch Spike and Drusilla have sex over
Yeah.
the bed of dolls, and then she gets turned into
She
a
gets
vampire.
turned. No,
Yeah.
I know,
Well,
but is she alive by
'cause-
the end of the episode though?
Oh, like as a vampire?
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we don't
yes.
ever see her get staked. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because originally when we first met Sheila, I was like, oh, I wonder if she's going to be a recurring character, Like
Yeah.
they're putting a lot of focus on she's getting scenes on her own, you know what I mean? And so in this scene, Spike approaches her and she's like, I mean, how can you not be interested and intrigued by Spike, right? Like she sees his leather jacket, she sees him walking down a dark alleyway. She's like, yes, you're the king of baddie bads. I will come with you. She walks into a very terrible situation for herself. And it looks like her friends, the guys that she was with, or like get bit and whatever. But yeah, I'm very interested to see if we're gonna get more of Sheila, because it feels like she might be like an underling for Spike at this point, and that might come back into play, but she also feels kind of unimportant.
Yeah, I think that she's pretty unimportant, but
Yeah.
I just think that like all teenagers on this show are disposable, and none of them will last more than an episode, really, except for the Scooby Gang. Um,
That
so
reminds me.
yeah,
Do y'all think of Cordelia as part of the Scooby Gang at this point?
Now I do.
yeah.
This episode was like, well, maybe not even this episode. It might have been like an episode or two ago, but like this episode with her when she's sharpening the stake, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, she's full on in now.
If you're
Yeah.
whittling wood, then you're part of it.
Yeah.
And she's tired of it. But and this is interesting too, because as Sheila's following Spike, she asks what his name is. So like we still don't he still has not like announced himself until we're in the library, everyone's doing research, and of course in walks Angel, and we find out that the other vampires called him Spike, and Giles does say like that's unorthodox, like this, which feels like the epitome of who Spike is just like an unorthodox vampire. Like he does what he wants when he wants, and he doesn't follow the like tradition.
Own rules.
That's right.
True badass.
Yes.
Yeah.
So wait, did Angel did say his name is Spike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I also felt like if they were like, oh, give us more information, and Angel, like normal, was like, bye, peace, see you later, I have better things to do.
Yeah, Angel basically comes in, says he's terrible. Like once he starts something, he doesn't stop until everything in his path is dead.
Yeah.
And yeah, like of course Buffy was like, girl, we gotta get your priorities in order. All right. Like as soon as Angel walks in, you can't be like, why weren't you at the bronze? No. People gonna die, Buffy.
Well, I mean, like we can have 4 seconds to just ask why he doesn't show up when he's supposed to.
Is this when he says, you said you might be there, and she says 200 years, and you don't know what it means when a girl says she might be somewhere?
Yeah. Seriously,
Okay.
Angel, that is pretty dense of him. Like you should know better. Come
Men
on.
are men. I mean,
That was my question for y'all, because as a man, I've always wondered,
some
is that
girl
true?
comes up to you and is like,
Mhm.
oh hey, like if you're, I might be at the bronze later tonight. Be at the bronze, bitch. Go to the bronze. That's
go
where
to
she's
the
gonna
bronze.
be.
Yeah, that's pretty clear.
I think so.
But
Yeah.
also, I mean, Angel has so much stuff to do. I don't know what he does during
But what's he
his.
supposed to do, Sarah? Like literally, what is he doing though?
I mean,
Does he have a job?
No.
We
I
don't.
think
We
he
don't know.
angel
he
stuff.
Doesn't
I mean,
he doesn't have a job?
He doesn't
I
have a
think
job. He literally sleeps during the day, drinks
No.
like blood he gets from a blood bank at
Yeah.
night.
I think he reads poetry. Maybe he
Ew.
writes poetry.
does he strike you as a poetry reader?
Kinda.
Mm.
I mean,
I
don't
really,
know.
I don't know. Angel is right now. I'm getting tired of Angel's crypticness. Like it's teetering on the edge of annoying for me. And like he's either gonna have to like make out with Buffy or like do something interesting for me to like forgive him for the
Jessica,
nonsense.
he's tormented. He is part of the tortured poets department.
Yeah.
He's the chairman.
Great.
Yeah.
He's the founding member
He's the
because he's
founding
240 years old.
Yeah, he's
Yes,
so old.
exactly.
Yeah.
Everything is just so tormented. He's like, he just learned how to use the typewriter. He's like a 2
Oh
finger
no, not the pointer
typewriter.
finger guy.
He is. He's like, oh, I finally figured out this advanced
My dad's a pointer finger
technology."
guy.
And he's like,
Yeah.
T H E. Nailed it.
Wow, it's the start of something
duh.
great.
Yeah, he's just figuring out how to use the typewriter. Maybe
Yeah.
he makes his own paper out of like tree pulp.
On that note, Angel leaves as they're about to ask him like if they know anything else. And at this point, I was so frustrated because I'm like, Angel, you literally can't just walk into a room, be like, BT dubs, this guy is the most dangerous person ever, and I obviously know him because of how I just said that, and then I'm gonna give you zero more information on how to defeat him.
But he does, and he does it every time, bitch. He does it every time.
I'm getting sick and tired of it. I'm getting sick and tired. Angel, how are you gonna get a spinoff if you don't talk? How are you gonna get a spinoff if you don't start dropping information? What are you doing?
I mean, he gets away with it because of the way he looks.
Mhm.
Ugh.
He has the angel's face,
Yeah.
hence the name Angelus.
So there, and I do love Xander's comment of I'm gonna put a bell on that guy. Like that. Okay. I gotta hand it to you, Xander. That was a good one. It was a good one.
Xander's not our biggest problem anymore. I think
No.
we've almost moved past the point
Really?
of Xander being our
I'm,
biggest
I'm
Interesting.
not past the point yet. I'm not.
I think the kid is worse. I'm so glad what happens to the kid.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that. But first, we
But-
got to go to Drusilla's room, where she has, as you said earlier, Sarah, a whole collection of dolls.
Oh my gosh,
They're
I
all
love
gagged.
Priscilla's room. Priscilla collects dolls. Priscilla likes to dress up her dolls. She likes to talk to them. She's like, shh. She's like, this bitch legitimately was like, if you other dolls don't behave, then you will have to face the opposite way. And
Mhm.
this is like, it was so fun. She has all of her pretty little dolls. She has more dolls on her bed. And,
And
they're
she
all
has someone
gagged.
tied up in the corner watching them.
Yeah, this is her room is the place to be. Now, how did she spend like zero time decorating her brand new room? Did the U-Haul come around and move her in? I want to know, because she has like a Tiffany lamp. She has a nice Baroque chair in the corner, but she is she's about to hook up with Spike right in front of Sheila, who's tied up. And Sheila seems a little scared. And then Spike is like, oh my god, wait. She starts talking about how she thinks her hair is thinning, which is like priorities, girl.
Well, the
Focus
thing is,
on
though,
your thinning hair.
this is all very like lore driven, because he asks, are you going to eat something? And she says, I'm not hungry, I miss Prague. And I don't know about you, David, but I've never heard a vampire say I'm not hungry. Like, that is weird. And Spike then says, like, oh, we'll just wait, in a few weeks time the stars will align and smile down on us. And they're like basically getting ready for like chaos in a few weeks, I guess. But something
Mhm.
about being in Hellmouth is supposed to help her. So, and again, I know you can't confirm or deny, but I'm like, is there some sort of weird vampire illness that she has? Like, why isn't she hungry? That's strange.
Oh.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think that Drusilla is just crazy, or does she actually have like powers?
Oh, I think
You
she
know?
has powers.
Okay.
I mean, all of the above, I think.
Yeah,
I think she's
certainly both.
absolutely
and
crazy.
then the other thing that I won't go into an answer for, but I will ask you: do you think that Drusilla was always crazy, or did she become crazy because she's a vampire? And if she was driven crazy, what do you think would have done that to her?
Interesting. I think
Angel broke up with her.
Yes, that's
And
exactly it.
she was
Her heart was broken.
drove to madness.
I think she probably like started out innocent enough, but like hundreds of years as a vampire just does shit to you. And like she probably had a little ounce of like losing her mind in there, and then it just blew up when she
Just
became a vampire.
when you're born with crazy eyes, you're destined to be crazy.
But sometimes it takes something for it to like, for a catalyst, like a what is that called? There's like an inciting incident, and that kind of like sparks the flame.
Yeah. And as far as like the dynamic between Spike and Drew, she's weak right now, so it's tricky. But who do you really think is in charge?
I feel
think
like Drusilla's in charge.
Yeah, I think Spike does everything for her. So I think she's the true one in charge, and he's like the muscle at this point. And
Yeah.
obviously he has brains too, but like he's her bodyguard in a way. And
If she misses, okay, so like if she misses Prague so much, she wants to be in Prague, but they came here, then yeah, there's something about being here. They have to be here in order for her to not feel so sickly.
right.
But
And
what is it?
she's also has brains, because she's the one who says the boy doesn't trust you, and they all follow him. So like it is important like that we recognize that she's not just like a princess. She has brains in there too. Like she has strategy and thoughts on things. But he says, okay, I have to go talk to them. You need to eat something though. And he hands her Sheila.
Yeah.
And she gets vampire face and then bites into Sheila. So exciting stuff. And then we transition to the next scene with like weapon preparation, right? So Willow's playing with a crossbow. Cordelia is holding like the largest knife I've ever seen and trying to sharpen a dagger, but she really is doing, or sharpen a steak, but she's really not doing much. And then Buffy is cutting up a cucumber with a machete. Maybe we need some lessons on how to use these like weapons, correctly.
I mean, she's trained in using the weapons, so therefore she can also use it for utility tasks like carving up vegetables.
Oh, I more so meant Cordelia because it scares me, her having a knife that big.
Yeah, it should.
But Buffy is like, I don't have time for this. We still need Punch for the parent-teacher conference because it's today. And Buffy, girl, why you made lemon juice? She made lemon juice. She didn't make lemonade. She made lemon juice. She didn't put any sugar in this. That is horrifying. And how many lemons did you have to squeeze to get that much? It looks terrible.
Takes a long time.
Well, she didn't think about how hard it was because of her super strength. It wasn't difficult for her like it would have been for us,
right, Right.
But the lemon juice is worth it because it leads to Willow offering it to Cordelia.
Yeah, that was funny. But in comes Joyce, and Buffy puts Willow on Joyce duty. Her job is to keep her away from the principal. She's not allowed to go near the principal. And of course, the principal immediately comes over. He's like, "Oh, was that your mother?" And Buffy just spills the lemonade on purpose. Take that, Principal Snyder.
For me, this felt so dumb because there's no reality that Joyce and the principal weren't going to interact at one point. It was just like a lot of energy for no reason. Let them talk. He'll say whatever bullshit that he wants to spew, and it is what it is,
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's problematic about it for me is it doesn't demonstrate that Buffy has any trust in her mother, that her mother will see through Snyder and see him for what he is.
Well,
and part of that is because she's young, but still, like, I don't know, maybe this is just me because I'm a parent. I think that my kids trust me enough to know that I'm going to have their back when they have trolls in their life who are teachers.
I would hope so.
I think she just her mom's gotten on her case about school so much that she is like wanting to avoid it at all costs. Like, I don't even want to deal with this.
Yeah.
Especially because she has other stuff to worry about at the same time.
Do you think that Buffy just writes her mom off? Like, she's like, "Oh, my mom doesn't know shit,"
Yeah, I think that there's definitely an aspect of that. I think that she, because of the things that she's been through and the things that she's done, she doesn't think her mom can understand that. And like part of that is wanting to kind of keep the image of her parent as being separate from the horror of being a Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for Buffy, it's going to be really traumatic, assuming her mother ever finds out, just because it'll be an integration of her two lives.
Well, in comes Cordelia to rag on Buffy's skincare routine. Not cool, Cordelia. We all struggle with a skincare routine, okay? And even though Joyce has great skin, doesn't necessarily mean that all her offspring are going to have great skin, Cordelia.
Yeah, she might not have inherited her skin.
Exactly. So rude. Speaking of, what if Sarah. Okay, I have a merging of theories, maybe.
Okay.
So you had said, what if being a Slayer is like the Watchers, where it's like nepotism?
Yeah.
What if that's true, but Joyce is a normie, like a straight up human, and Buffy's adopted?
Oh. What happens if it
that?
skips generations?
Ooh, Buffy's grandma is a Slayer. I love that too. I love that too. Yeah. Anyway, I was just thinking about it because of the skin conversation of like, maybe it's not her skin. Anyway, so they're on distraction mode, and Cordelia is like, "Ugh, I'm like so tired of sharpening sticks for you." But she knows that like Buffy's fucked no matter what. She's like, "You're gonna be grounded literally no matter what." Because we all know your mom's going to talk to the principal, and off they go to have a conversation. Buffy looks terrified. Not a great situation for Buffy, but even worse than that is we get Spike's actual name, Sarah.
Yeah, William the Bloody if you're nasty.
Yes, say it for the people in the back, William the Bloody. And he earned his nickname by torturing his victims with railroad spikes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how he did it.
Honestly, I'm
love
here
it.
for it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love a baddie with a name William. It's perfect.
William the
So,
Bloody.
Bloody.
one small quibble with that whole thing. Giles finds out his name is William the Bloody, and suddenly he can find him in the Watcher Diaries, right? But here's the thing. He already looked up Angel, and he read all about Angel back when they found out who Angel really was, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so why wasn't Spike listed there?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's his
Angel's
offspring, right?
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
up with that?
What is up with that, Buffy?
Because
It's
they don't
fine.
have an updated family tree like my family tree. It's so good. It's so comprehensive.
Maybe you should go to England and join the Watchers Council, Sarah.
I mean, to be honest with you, I would, but the issue is that you have to be like networking will only get you so far. You have to have a parent. And my mom, she's just a bookkeeper.
Yeah, she's a normie.
She's a normie.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mom, why aren't you a watcher? I could have had everything in this world. Mother, don't text me. I don't want your feedback right now.
So speaking of watchers, Giles has a little bit more information about Spike now. And he says, well, running away might have been a good idea because apparently Spike has fought 2 Slayers in the last century and he's killed them both. And so this is the point. Again, we don't know. We don't know because the show hasn't told us yet. But it seems to me like there has to be like more than just Buffy as a current Slayer. Because, you know what I mean? It's not like he killed the Slayer that was Buffy's, like the Buffy replaced. It seems to me like there are Slayers that are placed in hot spots like Hellmouth.
And why is there not like a yearly convention?
Well,
They need to organize, truly. They need a
So-
union.
so they told us when one of the Slayers was that he killed. Because at the very beginning, when he was talking to the vampires, he mentioned the Boxer Rebellion.
The
And
Rebellion.
The Boxer Rebellion, which
Mhm.
was
What?
an uprising in China
Oh.
at the turn of the last century, 1899 to 1901. The Boxers were rebels who rose up against imperialist forces, foreigners, and Christians, and killed them. And it's called the Boxer Rebellion because back in those days, Kung Fu was called Chinese boxing, and they were mostly trained in Kung Fu.
Oh.
So we know
Spike's
that.
such a worldly man.
Mhm.
He's all over the place. Okay, so he killed a Slayer in
In China.
China.
Mhm.
Okay. We know that Drusilla is from the Czech Republic. She or at least spent a good amount of time in Prague.
Mhm.
We know Angel's from Italy.
Wait. Angels from Italy?
Did I make that up?
We know he spent time in Italy.
He did spend time in
He
Italy.
spent time
We
in
don't know he's
Italy.
from Italy. We just know he spent time there.
I mean, he's a Greek goddess or god, isn't he?
I'm trying to remember. I mean, I know where Angel's from, but I'm trying to remember if they've told you at this point.
No, we just know he spent time in
Okay.
Italy just based on with the Angel episode.
Well,
Yeah, okay,
Angelus, that has to be like a Greek name.
Yeah, I think it's Latin.
One- yeah.
Well, I think it's supposed to be Latin,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
you know,
It's
Latin
Greek to
gets
me.
around anywhere where there are Catholics. There is Latin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
But yeah, so then Joyce and Principal Snyder finish their conversation. Joyce looks pissed. Buffy's about to get grounded. And then, like, out of nowhere, the principal's like, that's it. End of parent teacher. Just need to talk to Buffy. Lights off, everyone out. And smash through the window. In comes Spike and his cronies. And this is a big fucking deal. Capital BFD. Because he wasn't supposed to show up till Saturday. And he just drops the line, I couldn't wait. And you're just
I
like,
love
fuck
it.
yeah, this is great. We love a spontaneous entrance.
Well, it's so smart too because I mean, everybody, Buffy, Giles was expecting like the shit to go down on
Mhm.
Saturday, and of course, we have to get in a sneak attack. Like he's actually a
Yeah.
smart villain. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, he comes in and shit's about to go down, and this is a very like interesting series of scenes because we have people hiding, we have the principal and Joyce together and some other random teacher
who we knew was gonna
Cordelia,
die. Like we
yeah,
knew he
Yeah.
was
yeah,
done
yeah.
for.
Oh yeah.
Cordelia and Willow are hiding in a closet, and like Buffy really takes charge, and you know, she's like pretty awesome. Like she tells her mom to like just stay in there with the principal, and people listen to her.
She gets them into the room. She says, "In here now. Everyone has to stay in here." And she really does take charge. And she's smart enough to know, like, she needs, she's gonna need stakes and everything. She needs supplies, and they're in the room across from the library. So she goes up into the ceiling and crawls across, which Spike does here, to
Mhm.
get down into the library. But yeah, this is like, it's really scary, David, because basically the vampires are in control of the hallways, and they can wait. They've got time. They can wait. They need to be able to get in and kill Buffy and also seemingly take out some other people. The thing that is interesting to me that obviously like we don't know anything about yet is like, do the vampires care at all about the Watcher? Because no one's ever seemingly targeting Giles, but I'm like, he's the brains sometimes. Like, he's the researcher. You'd think that they would want to also take him out, at least if he's around, kind of a 2-for-1 special, BOGO.
You would think that, and it's possible. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Spike knows about Watchers because he's killed 2 Slayers.
Yeah.
But Giles is not your average Watcher.
He's a cool Watcher.
He's an uncool Watcher. I love Giles.
The average Watcher is not going to attract the Miss Calendars of the world. I will put that out there. So
fair.
Is it that the vampires underestimate the strategy, and they just see somebody who's like actually doing the killing, and that's who they're interested in? Because the vampires are probably like, yeah, like researching in books is not going to get me killed, essentially.
Nerds.
Anyway.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
feels like
nerds.
they're like, the Watchers are nerds, so we don't care about them. We just care about the Slayers. Because it's like, the Slayers are like the meatheads, if you will. Like, they're the muscle. But yeah,
it's a weakness. Like, they should be
Yeah.
thinking about the whole thing.
Yeah. But
because if they took out Giles, that would cripple Buffy.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. And he's in this, it's not like he's in the same school as them right now. Like, they have a good opportunity to do it if they wanted to. Because Giles, Miss Calendar, and Xander are in the library, and Giles realizes that Xander can get out. There's a way for him to get out. And so behind the stacks, and he says, okay, go get Angel. We need him right now. Like, this is important. So Xander leaves. Buffy, meanwhile, and this is where I'm like, I got my tinfoil hat on, because in the room with Buffy and her mom and the principal and no name guy that dies, like, the principal is like, oh, I'm gonna get out of here. He's gonna like try to open the window, and Buffy's like, absolutely not. Do not do that. And I found this very interesting, Sarah, because based on the end of the episode, we know the principal knows that these aren't just like people on PCP, that like he knows there's more to it. So why would he try to go out the window and have Buffy stop him? Like, is he testing Buffy or something? Like, is this all a ruse where he's like an asshole, but like it's like a Snape level of asshole where he's like secretly trying to help her or something?
I really don't know. Like, I mean, like, I'm not even sure of his motivations, because it seems as though it's like, what, he hates children, like really, really, really hates children.
Yes.
And he hates, like, it's like, how do you become a principal of a school with such a distaste for children, teenagers, education, like all this shit? So it's like, I really don't know his motivations. And it's like, he seems that he just wants everything to be covered up. So like, is he part of like big vampire industry or like big Slayer industry where like we're not supposed to have a get out that there's vampires? Like, and that seems like his main motivation. Like, everything's
Yes.
normal.
He feels like a
Nothing's
corporate
happening.
stooge. Like he feels like
Yeah.
he's the government and like he's on the board to keep this hush hush.
Right, like, because that like, I'm trying to figure out, like, what his motivations are, and it's like, everything just has to be, like, seemingly normal to the majority of people, and, like, a lot of cover-ups. So it's just, like, I think, like, you're not so incorrect by saying, like, there's like, it's like he's from the government, and this is just all a cover-up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's very strange.
the guy he talks to at the end is the chief of police for Sunnydale. And he talks to him almost like they're equals.
Yeah.
And they mutually agree, go with the normal cover story, gang on PCP.
Right. So, like, I don't think that he's an educator, because, like, none of it makes
No.
sense for him to be an educator. Like, I think that he was sent there from, I don't know, the government, from Slayer
Yes.
headquarters, from
Well, he's
somewhere.
like, he's too involved, right? Like he's too involved in what Buffy has going on. It feels like he also has like laser eyes for Giles. So it's just,
But okay, so then hold up. Yeah, because if he was from like Slayer Incorporated, then he would give like a little bit more leeway.
exactly.
to
I
Giles
think
and
That's what I was
Buffy.
gonna.
yeah,
gonna
I
ask
think he's
y'all.
he's
Yeah.
on the bad side. Like he's on the, we're in the government and we need to make sure that none of the humans find out that vampires exist side or something.
But wouldn't like the government want Slayers to do their job? Because I mean, I don't know. Now we're
Slayers
They
are kind of
might.
like vigilantes. So
They might, but they would also want the general public to not panic.
yeah,
And
they
if
want to keep
you know,
order, and that's
average
what,
people found out
Yes.
about vampires, they'd flip out.
that's what it feels
Um,
like. Principal Snyder is he's very much like all about the order, the law and order. Like we need to keep the peace, sort of thing.
I don't know if this will affect your conspiracy theories, but Sarah, do you recognize Principal Snyder?
So he gosh, he also looks like some guy. Okay, well, he's not the voice of like Bart Simpson, or not Bart Simpson, but is he like a Simpsons guy? He's like a famous, or am I thinking, because there's somebody else that like kind of looks like him that is actually this is
I don't know if he ever did a voice on The Simpsons, but
I don't know.
he was on Deep Space Nine, which you mentioned
Oh,
earlier.
yes. So he's the guy with the ears.
He is the guy with the ears. He
Yes.
is Quark.
Quirk.
He's a
Pretty-
Ferengi.
Yeah.
Jess is like, wow, David is an even bigger nerd than I thought.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah,
That's okay.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's
so-
really fun thing.
Buffy gets into the library just as Giles is about to like go out into the hallway to help her. We get another instance of like, this is again, love Giles. He's like, I don't
Mhm.
care. Buffy needs me. I don't care if I'm a watcher. And Miss Calendar, love her. She's like, you do you. I get it. Be careful. But in comes Buffy before they get the chance. Because she needs her stakes. You know, you got to go slaying. You're gonna need your supplies. Cordelia and Willow have a very close call before Spike gets called away, where Cordelia has like a broom, and I'm like, can you at least like break the handle, like at least kind of make it a stake, Cordelia? Come on.
Cordelia was whittling for hours. Her hands are cramping.
Yeah. And so so it's like, okay, great, we have Angel on the way. So Buffy says, listen, I have to go take care of the vampires. Please, you have to like look out for my mother. Like if I don't make it out of here, make sure she's okay. And I love Giles saying, bloody right, I will.
Yeah.
I love him. Giles is great.
So, y'all feel like Giles understands that he's Buffy's real dad yet? Because
I mean, I don't think like, I don't blood relation, no, but like definitely he is the stand-in as a father
Yeah.
figure for her. Yeah,
Not-
I love it.
Not a big fan of Hank Summers. Not a big fan. He sucks.
No.
Hank.
He
I
sucks.
don't know if I knew his name was Hank.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah. So back in the room with Buffy's mom, it's so interesting. Joyce is again like a little bit of Buffy, like trying to order him around, and he's like, "This is my school. This is not happening." And the other guy that is gonna die is just like, "No, I'm going out these windows." And like it seems like Snyder is helping him, he's helping him take these like bars off the windows, only for this man to basically just get like full on Lost style yoinked out the window and eaten. And it's like, if Snyder knows the dangers, why are you letting this random die? Like, what are you
Because
doing?
he knows too much, and it's supposed to be hush hush.
Hmm.
And
Oh, so he wants everyone to die. I see.
I have never thought of that before, but I like that.
yeah,
Interesting.
He would rather people to be oblivious, and if somebody was in the situation, then he knows too much.
Yeah. I really appreciated Spike telling the vampire to use his head and then grabbing his head and smashing it into glass to get an axe out.
Yeah.
Incredible. Also, the "Here, kitty, kitty" line did crack me up. I love it. I love a villain that loves being bad, that like
Yeah.
revels in being bad.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like
Yeah.
a little bit of Daddy Vamps. Daddy Vamps had that in him as well.
He did.
But I feel like Spike is bringing it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Daddy
is-
Vamps just wanted to be a father.
He did. We talked about this. He just was trying
I just
to
don't
adopt
think
the
that
anointed one.
Yeah, I just don't think that he was trying to be bad. He just wanted to get out and be
Three
free.
score, Sarah.
Yes,
Three
yes,
score.
yes.
He was down there.
I don't remember how long,
Never
but he was
forget.
down there.
Uh-huh.
I can't recall.
Oh
But yeah, Spike just loves being bad.
hmm
Yeah.
So,
And he's so good at it.
So Angel and Xander come back and they see the guy dead on the lawn. And they're like, "Uh-oh, okay, this isn't good. What's the plan?" And Angel just grabs Xander by the throat and drags him into the building. And I'm like, I don't care what the plan is, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Good plan for me. Oh my gosh. And yeah, we get a lot of like fight scenes, right? Like it's we have like Buffy is crawling in the ceiling still, and Spike is like shoving poles up the ceiling to try to poke at her, which is very funny. It's very your upstairs neighbors are being too loud. So he just stab.
And Angel offers Xander as a drink.
Yeah, this is really interesting, right? Where we knew Angel and Spike knew each other, but they like Angel comes in under the illusion that Xander is like his prey or whatever, and they greet each other like old buddies. Sarah,
Yeah, just two bros.
Yeah,
I
just
really
throwing
like
out.
the dynamic between them when they were fake being nice to each other. And
Mhm.
like, wouldn't it be really fun if like Angel really did have that edge and he was just like, yeah, like I just
Yes.
I just flirt with her to get Buffy off my back and like I can like do whatever the frick I want. I thought
Play
that
the tortured monster.
yeah, I really liked seeing Angel with an edge. I thought it was like really cool to watch, but Spike is just way too smart. He knows his maker. He knows when all the tricks, probably because he was trained by Angel. And he's like, I know you're lying to me, and fuck you, and fuck you, and fuck you. And he says, you can't trick me. And also,
Yeah.
like, Angel, come on. Like, don't you think that, like, he heard all about it, that, like, you helped kill the master? Like, I am sure that went out in the newsletter, you dumb hoe. Like, what are you doing?
And I mean, also, if Angel was his Yoda, then Spike definitely knows that Angel got his soul, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, there was.
Yeah, he does. He asks him like,
His-
"Oh, are you housebroken?"
Yeah.
How did we know? How did he get his soul? Did we know this?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
What happened
He
again?
got cursed. They told you in
It
season
was in
1.
the Angel
I promise.
episode.
He got cursed.
He got
Yeah,
cursed.
He cursed with
He
a
fed.
soul.
He fed on a gypsy girl who was the favorite of her tribe.
Oh,
Not very
yeah.
smart though.
Oh.
That's what he said.
Mhm.
Okay, hold on. Is Angel a golden retriever? Pop was stupid.
Is he a himbo? Yeah,
Is he? I think
he
he's
might
a
be.
himbo.
He might be a himbo. Because he's again, I've said this on so many podcasts, but he's the guy who you're like, oh my God, still waters run deep. Like he's so quiet. He
But
must
there's
be
not
thinking
much
such deep
there.
thoughts. And there's
Mhm.
literally like
He's
ping
thinking about
pong
like
happening
ping
in his
pong.
head.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. And then like Spike is like Black Cat energy.
Yeah. Spike knows. He's like,
Black
he
cat energy?
says, you're
Yeah,
my
Black
Yoda.
Cat.
Yeah, he's a black cat.
Interesting.
Meanwhile, Buffy happens upon Sheila, who has her normie face on, and Buffy's like, "Come on, we gotta go." And Sheila has an axe and is creeping behind Buffy with her
Mhm.
vamp face on.
Oh,
And we're
this
like,
was also a dumb move by Buffy because it's like Buffy, obviously Sheila is
Yeah.
down the river.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta watch out for her. But luckily she gets warned enough in time to knock Sheila out of the way. And she's able to stake one of the vampires, one of the random vampires. Sheila runs away, so she does get away. But yeah, and this is where I was like, this is interesting because Buffy's mom, like there's a big hole in the door, so Buffy's mom is looking out, so presumably she sees some stuff,
Yeah.
like we don't know if she sees everything, but obviously she's also going to rescue Buffy later, so she sees some stuff.
Yeah, she sees Buffy take this vampire down to the ground, and then it's arguable whether or not she sees the vampire get staked. But then a minute later, when the door opens, there's no body, there's no person, there's nothing there. What does she think happened?
Right. Yeah, that's the thing, because the only one who leaves behind bones is Daddy Vamps. No one else.
I don't know if Buffinda had her head in the game this episode.
Who?
Buffy.
Oh, Buffinda? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Good God. But we finally get the confrontation between Spike and Buffy, where they're like, do we really need these weapons? And it again, like there is heat here. And Spike says that the last Slayer that he killed begged for her life. And he says, but you don't strike me as the begging kind. I love this. I love this so much. We are like, because normally in a normal show that you wouldn't have the confrontation between the big bad and the main like hero in the first episode that you meet the big bad.
Because he's not the big bad. Drew is.
Fair, but he's working with Drew.
Yeah.
They're like a package deal.
Is his mind altered?
No.
Is he like hypnotized by her? No, I don't think so.
No.
So anyway, he says, I've messed up your doilies and stuff, but I just got so bored. As a personal favor from me to you, I'll make it quick. It won't hurt a bit. And this is when the kicky punchy begins. And we're fighting.
And Buffy says wrong, it's going to hurt a lot, which is like, I love that response. Like that's her being Buffy and being awesome.
Yeah.
And just like, it's going to hurt. And
and we see Joyce like second guessing because Buffy told her leave, Xander's getting his ass kicked by a vampire outside until Angel rescues him. And this is not a great, like Spike is on the verge of killing Buffy with like a 2x4, and in comes Joyce with the axe, and she pulls a Molly Weasley. You get the hell away from my daughter, just like wham. It's great.
Yeah. She saves the day because it like kind of knocks out Spike, and then he is like,
I can't possibly take on two women. I must flee.
So he flees, hurt, and the Joyce saves the day, which I mean, it's pretty cool, pretty awesome.
It is pretty cool for Joyce.
Yeah.
And and kind of Spike has to, lick his wounds a bit. He thought that this was going to be easy, but he did not anticipate that there would be a Slayer with friends and family.
That's the thing. It's the group that really does him in. So then we're outside and we talked about this scene a little bit where we get Principal Snyder talking to the chief of police. And when the chief of police says, like, listen, I got a body inside, I got another one on the lawn, it looks like he was pulled through the window. And Principal Snyder says, I told him not to go through that window. And I'm like, you didn't. That was the opposite. I rewind the tapes. That's not what happened.
Suspicious, very suspicious.
But they're gonna go with the same old story of the PCP, gangs on PCP. And
is this like the equivalent of like the bath salts era?
The PCP era?
Yeah, well, and it's the same. I don't know if it's directly supposed to be a reference to Terminator, but it's the same explanation the cops give in Terminator for why Arnold's able to like punch through windshields. Because he couldn't possibly be a robot from the future sent to kill Sarah Connor. He has to be high on PCP.
Obviously. So yeah, and then we get a cute little scene between Miss Calendar and Giles where he's like, gosh, like, I understand if you don't want to see me, like, that was a lot. But she just like grabs his arm and they walk off together. And I couldn't be shipping this harder. I love this so much.
That was the other thing I wanted to check in with y'all was how are you feeling about that particular ship? So
I love them. Sarah, I think, is a little more dubious than I am.
I mean, like, I think that they're really cute. Like, I think that he brings out, well, I don't know what he offers to her, but she definitely brings out a layer of, like, you know, ease for him. And I think that, like, she finds him, like, very endearing, and, like, she likes the fact that, like, he's an intellectual. She likes the fact that he's like a little like stuffy in his ways, but so I think that they're very cute. I just don't like, I mean, like, obviously this is season 2, they're not Endgame here. I think that like Miss Calendar is like a prime suspect to like die in some capacity. Not that I want her to, but like, I don't know, like, we need stakes eventually. Like,
we get plenty of stakes on this show, Sarah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we're going to need like somebody that like we care about, but like we don't really care about to die to like add significance to the show.
That's fair.
And my
so, like,
money's
Xander?
on Miss Calendar and Xander. Yeah,
Xander
that's
could
what
die.
Xander.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just said that for y'all. I don't. You know.
Which I do like the scene we get between Angel and Xander where he's like, what was your plan? Like, if he decided he was going to bite my neck, and he's like, well, we would have known that if he bought it, if he bit you.
Yeah, like the way Boreanaz delivers that line is really funny to me. Like he, you know, that, and then like going back the scene with Spike where he's pretending to be bad, you know, when you talked about why did you get your own show, that's the charisma that got him the show, was those little glimpses you see there. You get more of that as we go forward.
Yeah, and then we get a nice little scene between Joyce and Buffy where she asks, like, oh, so what did he say? Like, what did the principal say? And he's like, oh, that you were a troublemaker. But Joyce says, I couldn't care less. I have a daughter who can take care of herself, who's brave and resourceful and thinks of others in a crisis. No matter who you hang out with or what dumb teenage stuff you think you need to do, I'm going to sleep better knowing all of that. So sweet, Sarah.
Very nice. Yeah, it's very, very nice.
Yeah.
I really am it was a great episode. Like, I mean, it was a great episode for Joyce. It was a great episode to meet Spike and Drusilla. Like, I feel as though it felt very significant while I was watching it. And I feel like I would have thought that even if I knew that it wasn't, like, even if I didn't know it was significant, you know what I mean? Like,
I didn't. So I mean, obviously I knew Spike eventually, but
yeah. Like, it felt like this was an important episode or like a big episode. And it also felt like, I don't know, to have it like just like random episode 3. Like, I just feel like if you were watching this in real time, like the people probably would have had like a lot to say after this episode. This is like, you know how there's always filler episodes, Jess?
Yes.
This is like the direct opposite of a filler episode. This is like a very meaty episode.
Well, we're meeting a huge new character, right? Like we're learning his motivations. It seems like something is up with the principal. We're getting a lot of Buffy and Joyce stuff where Joyce at least has some inkling that like something is going on with Buffy now. Cordelia is like officially a Scooby, I think, after this episode. She kind of already was, but she really is now. A lot of good Giles and Buffy stuff. Like this episode really has everything. And then on top of all of that, we get a lot of lore information as well, I think. So it's more Angel stuff, like to color his background and all of that. So yeah, it is a really important episode. At least it seems like it is for the future of the show. And I have to say, I love how we end the episode where no one was like, hey, what about Willow and Cordelia? Should we try to find them? Nah, just leave them in the janitor's closet where Cordelia is praying. And she says, if you get me out of this, I swear I'll never be mean to anyone ever again, unless they really deserve it, or it's that time of the month. In which case, I don't think you or anyone else can hold me responsible.
There we go.
Relatable queen.
Yeah, she's a genius. She's a scholar.
It's so funny. I can't. And yeah, then we also, sorry, that's not the very end of the episode. That was one of my, I thought that was the end because it was like my favorite part, but we get Drusilla and Spike and they're back at like the warehouse where all the vampires hang out. We're going to need a name for this warehouse. And
It's a factory.
A factory?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an old factory.
Vampire factory. Okay. And Spike just like goes up, picks up the anointed one, the child, and just shoves him in a cage because he can't bear to be fake for one more second.
Yeah.
This is so funny.
Yeah.
I think that this is just like a direct answer to probably the people complaining that they had to like watch this annoying kid. Like, I'm sure that it wasn't polling well amongst audiences, and they're like, let's just get rid of him. Let's just like throw, this was not working. This was an idea that we had. It's not working. Let's just get rid of him.
Well, and he was also growing too fast.
It was growing too fast.
The kid was getting big too fast because children grow, and he's a vampire. He's dead. He's not supposed to get any older.
Yeah, it's very
it's kind of
problematic.
like the Walt problem on Lost, where Walt got like really tall, really fast.
Yeah.
And they had to. But yeah, and then at the end he says, we're gonna have a little less ritual around here and a little more fun.
Ooh.
It's a very meta comment. Spike is the new vampire. He's what we're gonna get from now on. Is no more.
I have to assume, and David, you can like clarify because I'm directly asking you this. It looks like Spike put the anointed one in a cage and then put him up to where the sunlight would be shining on him. I assume that's gonna kill. I mean, that's gonna kill a vampire.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The camera pans up and shows the empty cage.
Yeah.
The cage
is empty, and then it had like sizzly bits.
Oh, I missed the sizzly bits. Oh, now I see it. Okay.
Yeah,
yes, I must have gotten myself confused. Thank God. Honestly, 10 out of 10 choice to kill the anointed one in the third episode because we were over him anyway.
Yeah, we were not a fan.
We've been over him.
Mm-hmm.
This episode was excellent. This episode was everything. I love this episode. I'm so excited to see what the hell kind of shenanigans Spike and Drusilla are going to get up to. They're like so chaotic and just in love that it's only going to be messy, and I can't wait.
I am excited to see y'all's reaction to the shenanigans that they are going to get up to.
Yeah, let's go.
Yes. All right, so we have a couple things to get to. I have some feedback I have to read. Then we still have to take our vampire quiz. And David has agreed to be our phone a friend because he knows a lot about vampires.
Oh my god!
Vampire. He might know all the answers.
Real quick before we do that, did you guys last time you talked about the title of the episode, School Hard? Mm-hmm. Now that you've seen it, do you get it? Do you understand what it is?
No, I'm stupid.
No,
school is hard.
You're not. That's not. No.
Oh,
it's just no, you're not.
Oh, thank you, David.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Think about it.
Oh, it's like Die Hard, but in a school.
There you go.
Because the crawling through the vents.
Because the crawling through the vents. See, Buffy should have said something like, some allusion to come out to the coast. We'll have a lot of fun. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. She should have done something like that.
They could have given Spike a yippee-ki-yay and it would have worked. He said, here, kitty, kitty,
But that's what it is. So, but no,
Interesting.
Sarah,
Okay.
that doesn't
Well,
mean you're dumb. I have seen the episode a million times, and I didn't figure that out until like maybe the second or third time I watched it. So,
yeah, I never would have
Mm.
realized.
I don't know if I've seen Die Hard.
oh my God, Sarah, really?
David
I've
loves
I've
Die
seen a
Hard.
lot of things, but that is what I call a bro movie.
It is a bro movie.
You know, I watch it every year on a certain
Yeah.
holiday
Yeah,
before I
for
go to bed.
Christmas. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get into some feedback. We got an email
Yes.
from Joy. She says, she starts with the episode, Spike and Drew, Spike and Drew, Spike and Drew, all in caps. They're finally here. I love Spike and Drusilla so much. They're like a vampire Bonnie and Clyde, so destructive, but
Oh,
genuinely in love. And Drusilla is insane in such a whimsical way. I love it.
Yeah.
I love this episode, and not just because of them, but because we get to see more of Joyce, how she loves Buffy and is proud of her and believes her. And we see that Buffy isn't like other Slayers. She has a different dynamic. She has friends and family, a support system, which Spike was not expecting. Plus, I'm sure y'all cheered when the Anointed One died.
Very happy I did.
Yeah, every time,
Yeah.
every time.
The
I
big
too am looking
celebration.
forward to a little less ritual and a little more fun in Sunnydale. Willow telling Cordelia to have some lemonade so offhandedly will never not be funny, but I still adore Cordelia and her brand of insult sandwich. And we get the idea that Principal Snyder is aware of more than we thought, which sets up so much. It's so exciting, which, yes, I'm glad I realized that, because I was like, wait a minute, wait a pesky little minute here. There's something going on with this freaking principal. On a different note, and that has nothing to do with Buffy, I listened to your episode on the Mummy, and I have a theory. Oh, this is fascinating. So if you checked out the bonus podcast that we did covering the Mummy with Melissa, this is for you. Rick didn't steal anything from the tomb. He stole Benny's camels, and Benny is a very greedy boy. Just my take on it. Interesting. Remember we were talking at the end about how he like stole something from the... No, you don't remember.
Who's Rick?
Rick is the main character.
characters.
Rick O'Connell. O'Connell.
It's probably
What's,
because we called
what's
him
his
Brendan
name?
Fraser for like the entire
Brendan
podcast.
Fraser. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we called him Brendan Fraser. The
But
whole
That's
time.
like his
Joy,
most-
what
that's
was
like
in
his
the
most
shiny
awesome movie.
thing? What was the
Oh my
shiny
gosh.
thing though?
He took like when he stole something
Camels.
out of the tomb on his way out.
Yes.
I don't
Who
know.
did? Rick or
Rick. Yeah, Rick did. Also, Joy has 3 suggestions for bonus content. Are you ready to hear them?
Let's write it down.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I have the email too, so we don't.
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
The Crow, which is Edward Scissorhands' angsty,
Mhm.
tragic, gothic older brother.
Mhm.
Sarah's nodding her head like she's seen it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
The Swan Princess, a cartoon musical loosely based on Swan Lake.
Oh my God, you have no idea how much I love that movie.
There you go. I've never seen it.
Interesting.
Oh my God, I love the Swan Princess. That's one of
Sarah,
my favorites.
Have you seen The Crow? Sorry, I just have to.
Yeah, I have a long time ago, but I have
Okay.
seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tombstone, a Western that is long and possibly not your cup of tea, LOL, but it has the best live action portrayal of Doc Holliday that I've ever seen.
I'm your Huckleberry.
I don't
That's where
know
that's from.
hardly any of that, but I'm excited. And if Sarah's excited about any of those, then I'm willing to hop on
The
board and
Swan
cover one, you know.
Princess was legit, had a chokehold on me. Oh my God, I love the Swan Princess. I would watch that now. I think it's on Prime Video.
There you go. Okay. Well, now we know. Do you want to know the title to next episode before we do our vampire quiz?
Yes.
Inca
Oh, no.
Mummy Girl.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The Swan Princess is playing.
That is the thing that happened.
Oh, sorry.
Inca Mummy Girl is the name.
Yes.
Inca Mummy Girl. Okay, so it's going to be like another like episodic Monster of the Week.
Monster
We're
of
gonna
the
get
Week thing.
It's gonna be like it's gonna be the Mummy. Maybe Rick will show up and the camels and whatever. I don't know.
Camels. They
Maybe
run
he
real
will.
fast. Okay, let's take our vampire quiz. So
Oh,
it's 10
gosh.
questions with a bonus question. It's multiple choice, thank God. So let's
Are you gonna
let's
share your screen?
I
so
am
that
going to share my
can-
screen
okay.
so that you have a better view of it.
I'm gonna
Okay,
be
so
studious. Vampire quiz.
in the Marvel comics, the vampire hunter Blade is half what? Vampire, Skrull, Kree, or demon?
Okay.
So
I mean, I don't think it's demon because these guys are demons.
I know what scrolls are. They can like change the way they look.
I don't know anything
Kree
about.
is a bad guy. I'm pretty sure they're the blue bad guys.
In what?
In Marvel.
Okay, is it a trick question? Like this is a
Is he half
vampire
vampire?
quiz. I feel like he has to be half vampire.
Okay, let's guess that then. We got it right.
Boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
Okay.
Morbius the Living Vampire is a villain to which Marvel hero? Captain America, Daredevil, Spider-Man, or Ghost Rider? Ghost Rider's a Marvel hero? Okay.
Yes, he is.
Morbius the Living Vampire is a villain.
To which
Okay,
Marvel?
definitely
David,
not Captain America, not Superman.
I'm leaning towards Daredevil, but David, do you know the answer out of curiosity?
I absolutely know the answer.
Maybe
Can you give us a 50-50?
So
Can you cut out
is
two of
Ghost?
the answers?
No.
Oh, no? You don't want to?
Well, we only have like one opportunity to use David.
Oh,
What
okay.
if
We
it
should
gets
save it.
harder, right?
All right, we'll save it. We'll save it.
Because I feel like it's either Ghost Rider or Daredevil. I mean, Ghost Rider, was that the Nicolas Cage movie?
Yeah, where his head's on fire, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he
Ghost
rides
Rider
the
is Spirit of
motorcycle.
Vengeance. He's a skeleton. He's on fire. He rides motorcycles.
Morbius.
I mean, that kind of sounds like somebody
me
that
do
would
Ghost
fight
Rider?
a living. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
I didn't know that.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. The vampire hunter Blade's real name is Frank Castle, Eric Brooks, Johnny Blaze, or Gabriel Summers.
The vampire.
This feels like a trick question because
So-
Summers is Buffy's last name and people are trying to roast us about it, I bet.
So wait, I just want to interject. I'm not going to give any hints about the answer,
Yeah.
but so is this basically like a Marvel vampire quiz? Is that what's happening here?
It's a
We don't
vampire
know.
quiz in general. We
Okay.
don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
because they've all been Marvel things. Just
Oh, so this is also Marvel.
yeah.
Vampire Hunter Blade's real name. I don't think it's Johnny Blaze, and I don't think it's Gabriel Summers, because Gabriel Summers feels like, oh, Summer is Buffy's last name.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Blade's real name. Eric Brooks?
That's what
really
I was
don't know.
thinking. Let's
Yeah,
just go with Eric
I've
Brooks.
never heard of this before.
Hey, look at
we're so
us.
smart.
Got it right.
Yeah.
Which of
Okay,
these
perfect.
ways can kill a vampire? Beheading, holy
Beheading,
items,
uh-huh.
sunlight, set them on fire. All the above. It's definitely all the above.
all
We've
the
seen
above.
them die. I didn't know beheading did it though. But
I think that we did see it.
Yeah, it's really hard
Did
to be
we?
alive without a head.
yay, we got that right. Look at us.
Yay.
That was the easy one.
Okay.
And Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who is my favorite season 1 vampire?
And this is Justin.
This is Justin. It's Daddy Vance, Angel, Darla,
Darla.
the anointed one. It has to be
Probably
Darla.
Darla.
It's probably Darla. You think Darla?
Yeah.
I think so too.
Oh,
Daddy
Daddy Vance.
Vance.
I mean, us too.
Wow. We
What
love
is
Daddy
the
Vance.
role of the Watcher in Buffy? Hook
To
up with Miss
watch the Slayer do their job, to hook up with Miss Calendar, to give us helpful yet boring to some lore, to assist and train the Slayer. It's definitely the last
Yeah,
one, but I
D.
appreciate these other answers.
Calendar.
Why does Buffy have to transfer schools? Oh, she burned down a school gym. We know that much.
got into drugs, was a problem child, got into trouble with the law. Yeah, burned down the school gym.
Yeah, nailed it. Okay, all right.
Mhm.
We're nailing it. What does it mean to be a vampire's thrall?
Thrall.
Forcibly under their control, you submit to their needs, you are waiting to be turned, or you lose your inhibitions.
Forcibly under their control.
That's what I was thinking, like a glamour sort of thing.
No, that doesn't mean that.
To
It's
you
just-
submit to their needs, you're waiting to be turned. A vampire's thrall. Forcibly under their control and you submit to their needs sounds so similar, though.
Mm,
I feel like it's one of those two. What do you think, Sarah?
Thrall.
Is it like a word for sire? Like you're turned by them? Is it like thrall and
isn't
sire?
it like enthralled? Like I'm enthralled by you. Like
That would
I'm-
be losing inhibitions. That might be right.
Is
Do we
this
want to phone a friend?
Oh, but what happens if the other ones are harder?
Well, then we lose. I don't know.
Okay.
All right, David, can
does
you-
know words?
So a thrall is a slave. and it's taken probably from Dracula, where he had a servant named Renfield
Oh.
who he controlled.
Mm.
So
So
it's
I would say
forcibly under their control.
that's what I would say.
Yeah.
But personally, I think that you're right, and you submit to their needs and forcibly under control are really close to each other.
Yeah.
So, but
I'm just
forcibly
gonna-
under control is going to be closer to what I would think the answer would be.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, David.
Okay. Which is not an alias of Dracula? Vlad the Impaler, Son of the Dragon, Nosferatu, or Daywalker?
Son of the Dragon?
That sounds right to me because Nosferatu sounds familiar, so I feel like maybe that's right.
Yeah.
Vlad the Impaler sounds like it could be Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with Son of the Dragon. No,
Uh-oh.
Daywalker.
Daywalker.
Yeah, so the real Dracula, Vlad, his father was a member of the Order of the Dragon, so he was known as the Son of the Dragon.
Oh, who was actually referred to as the Daywalker? Buffy Summers, Deacon
So Justin
Frost.
knew that was a trick question for us.
He knew he was going to get us.
Yeah.
Buffy Summers, Blade, Deacon Frost, or Morbius the Living Vampire.
Who is referred to as the Daywalker?
Well, it would make sense if it was Morbius the Living Vampire because he could be out in the daytime.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, it's Blade! We don't know anything about vampires. Oh, wait.
No, you skipped the last one.
I know, I didn't mean
Jessica,
to. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm going back to it.
Oh my
It's
God.
fine. Just stall for time. I'm going to click through these.
Okay. Well, I feel as though this wasn't our best, but also I didn't have a study guide. I didn't get to study. Jessica said I couldn't study. I didn't know.
Yeah, not allowed.
So,
Well, and it was secretly a Marvel vampire quiz, so you would have had to study Marvel comics also.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, the secret bonus question. What is Buffy Summers' full name? Buffy Anna Summers, Buffy Ann Summers, Buffy Joyce Summers, or Buffy Dawn Summers?
It's really funny because I almost told you all the answer to this while we were doing the podcast earlier.
I feel like
I was going to
probably
say what her
Dawn.
name was.
Buffy Dawn? I feel
like the dawn comes up and the
Anna.
vampires die.
I just feel like the Anna is like supposed to trip us up.
But usually when someone's middle name is Anne, aka myself, it's not ANNE, it's ANN.
No, Jessica,
Interesting.
you're just putting yourself. I just think it's Buffy Ann Summers, honestly.
Okay, fine, we'll go with that. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Buffy Ann Summers. What a basic name.
Dude, we got a
Wow.
4 out of
No,
11.
that's not right because I clicked to get back
You got
to
a
the end.
7 out of
We
11.
got 7 out of 11.
What's-
7-11.
What does that equate to?
Not good.
Oh no.
Passing if you're in the United States. At
We
least.
got 63%.
Oh, that's not good. That's not
we're
passing.
so
Never
oh,
mind.
man.
Y'all need to watch Blade, and then you'll do much better on the quiz next time.
Okay,
'cause there's a
I'll
lot of Blade
watch
questions.
Blade. I've never seen Blade.
I'm
Oh,
so
it's-
Why don't we
it's
have some Twilight
entertaining.
in here? Or
Wesley Snipes.
We would have been
Blood-
able to get the
That's never
Twilight
happened.
questions
Yeah,
or True
or
Blood questions.
True
I would
Blood,
get. Yeah.
or Vampire Diaries. I haven't seen that either, but
I don't know anything about that.
I was
anyway.
expecting like Dracula questions, like who is Bram Stoker, what was his day job, things like that.
I don't know.
we
who-
wouldn't have
yeah.
gotten that.
He's
either.
I
he's
wouldn't
the
have gotten that
writer.
either.
He wrote Dracula.
Oh,
Bram Stoker.
what about
He was a playwright.
what about Count Chocula? I know
Yes.
so much about him,
Also a vampire.
and
So
also a vampire. Yeah.
All right. Well, next week, Inca Mummy Girl, season 2, episode 4. I'm excited. We're gonna have another guest, Melissa. If you remember her from the Mummy podcast, she's coming back. She's gonna come back on Buffy with
has
us.
a monopoly on mummies. It
that
seems.
is an interesting choice for Melissa. I'm
I
interested
think
to
it
hear
was
that.
based on the date that she was
Yeah.
available. So,
Oh, okay.
anyway, thank you so much, David, for coming on, chatting Buffy with us, and you know what? You didn't spoil us on anything to my knowledge. So that's pretty incredible. So shouts out to you for that, because apparently this episode is very easy to spoil people on future things that happen. But is there anything you want to plug or promote? Anywhere people can find you, anything like that?
Oh no, I don't want people to find me.
Okay, no one find David.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't really have anything to promote. Come find me on Discord and be entertained by my presence, I guess.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, Sarah, what's going on at Whirlwind?
We're still going through previously on Shameless, Inside the TARDIS. We have Girls Five Eva is finishing up, and their One Indescribable podcast is going to announce their new project soon. But they're going to have some like really fun things in the interim. Like I think they're covering Waitress. Yeah. The Broadway show, not the movie, with Carrie Russell. It's all intertwined. It's all a big circle. But follow us along on Whirlwind Pods.
You can find me on Talking Shit, talking about Schitt's Creek with my friend Stuart. That's been tons of fun. We're getting close to the end of season 1 soon enough. So, beyond that, you can find us at Shit90s Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And we also have something else coming up in the works that we're going to announce in just another week or so. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That's going to be over on Whirlwind, but I will be joining Sarah over there to talk about something that you will hear about in like a week or two.
Yeah. Because, 2 can keep a secret, but one of them has to be dead. So
there you go.
Yeah. There's 3 people here. And so that's why we can't reveal it.
Exactly.
I see.
But that's everything we have this week. So until next time, here endeth the lesson.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.